my name is John and welcome to Neues, a podcast primarily in German about the history of socialism in China, as well as social movements and emancipatory processes in China, Hong Kong and Taiwan. We are currently producing a series about Taiwan, and today I am here to talk about the situation of Taiwanese labor unions with Professor Liu Mei-chun from the Graduate Institute of Labor Research at National Zhengzhou University in Taipei. Professor Liu has done a lot of research in labor sociology, workplace equality, and the effects of the aging population in Taiwan. She has also written numerous articles, primarily in Chinese, on the situation of Taiwanese labor rights and unions. Welcome to the podcast. From what I've learned, there's three types of unions in Taiwan: the enterprise union, industrial union, and occupational union. Can you explain the differences between these three types of unions?
Okay. The company union is restricted to the workers who belong to the company, okay? So only the employees of the company that can join this union. Industrial union, that this union covers everybody in these industries, even they are working in different enterprises, okay? And occupation industry, of course, just like other countries, it is only the certain occupation, the one with certain occupations, they join this union. But there's a big difference of occupation union and the occupation union in other countries. Yeah, because in Taiwan, there's a history background. Probably 30 or 40 years ago, or more than that. The reason that people established the occupation union is because they want to get coverage of the labor insurance. Okay, so most of the occupation union is we called social labor insurance union, because the reason that they join the union is in order to get the coverage of the labor insurance. So it's not the kind of occupation union that you can find in other countries.
That also would have been my next question. So what the labor insurance is about, and also if there is an international equivalent, like in other countries, to this Taiwanese labor insurance practice.
I think Taiwan's labor insurance is pretty much similar to other labor insurance. And in this labor insurance, we do have major coverage, like giving birth, okay, and occupation hazards, and unemployment severance, okay. If you got unemployed, you got fired, and you will get the unemployment benefits. And we do have also the ordinary sick leave. Then you got some pay or the benefit from the labor insurance. So I think this kind of coverage is pretty much similar to other countries.
In Germany, it is common that unions try to negotiate industry-wide bargaining agreements where they agree on a certain working time and pay for all employees in one industry. So are there also industry-wide negotiations in Taiwan, and how common are they?
Well, in Taiwan, most of the company union, they are hard to do that because they are hired by the boss, right? And so they dare not to challenge their authority. So it's rare to see the collective bargaining or collective disputes actions from the company union. Okay, so even though sometimes we will see it, but it's just rare. Nowadays, the industrial union does have this kind of, or the newly established occupation union. They are the real union. Okay, then they will launch the collective actions. Okay. Collective bargaining or collective disputes action. But they are also limited to they are not like Germany, which their agreement level is pretty high. Probably the regional and the national, right? And they do have the big union or industrial union. and then they negotiate with the boss, the employers of these industries.
Yeah, exactly.
We are different because in Taiwan, the employer association is so powerful. So they are not willing to do the collective bargaining with the unions unless the government push. Yeah, unless the government push. Yes.
Okay, so what are some of the structural problems that unions face in Taiwan, especially in regards to occupational unions? And what are some of the requirements to found a union in Taiwan?
Just like I said, the union in Taiwan, they do have some negative history. I should say that before KMT moved to Taiwan, the Republic of China, when they were in the mainland China or we call Dalu, we do have, we call the 3 laws, the collective bargaining, collective disputes, and the unionization, okay? We do have the three pieces of laws. However, at the time, it's a turbulent years, and the KMT moved to Taiwan, and then after that, we have we have the martial law. And so any collective action is barred. If you do try to launch or initiate some collective action, you will face serious penalty. So at the time, not many people would like to do that kind of thing because obviously it's harmful or it's dangerous. Yes. And after the lifting of the martial law, then things got a little bit better. And so in 1987, Taiwan lifted the martial law. And after that, there's a lot of unions established. Okay. Even though union is, we do see a couple of the unions, but newly established unions, but still the mentality is still under martial law. And just like I said, in the past, most of the unions are company unions, so they dare not to challenge the authority of the employers. And also from the point of view of the employers, they will try to do some co-op behavior. They will try to bribe you so that you will not fight against the employers. Okay, I will appoint you to be the manager, or I will promise you that if you be quiet, and you will be promoted to certain positions that you desire. That's why in that times there's not that much collective actions. Okay, but just like I said, after the lifting of the martial law, there's chance for the union to grow. However, when the DDP gained power, okay, they during the election, the presidential election, they won, and then they tried to co-opt a lot of we called the forces of the social movements, and a lot of the leaders of the social movements are invited to sit on the important positions. So at the time, the whole atmosphere just collapsed. Yeah. They lose the power.
Under which DPP president was that?
Chen Shui-bian.
Chen Shui-bian.
Yes.
So, and is the martial law attitude, is it still is it less common with young people than with older people when it comes to unions?
At that time, of course, with the old people, but the younger one, over the past 20 years, you can see that even though we saw younger generation, they have a lot of interest, or they are interested in joining the social movements. And however, once they, it's same thing. when they gain prominence, just like some of the youth leaders, they stand out and then they have good performance, and then they will be invited by the DDP to sit important positions. And so you can hardly expect them to keep, they just lose their vitality, or they lose the power to challenge the authority.
Yeah, because they were like
instituted
by the government.
Yeah, by the government, yes.
So, and what is the general attitude in Taiwan towards labor action, such as strikes and unions?
Oh, of course, it's very negative. Still now. People think that those people who participate in the unions, or they participate in the strikes, are unreasonable, or they are dangerous, or they are someone who should be contented with their income, or should be contented with their status. For example, like the pilots, okay, they say, "Wow, your income is so high, and why you still come out and then participate in the strike? You are 贪婪. How should I say? You are greedy. Yeah, you are greedy. Okay." And we also, over the past 10 or 20 years, we also see that the doctors, the physicians also came out and then try to unionize, and then try to argue for their rights. And people say, "How come that you can you will do this because you earn so much? You are high income people." You can see that in Taiwan, most of the people doesn't have this kind of idea, or they do not have the labor consciousness. You see,
from some of my friends, I also heard that, like, while they're very critical of their bosses, they still see strikes as being too radical.
Right. Especially our elder or the older generation will say that, because they went through with the white terror, the era of the white terror. So still they have this kind of fear, and they will persuade their kids or the younger generation, don't participate at this kind of don't have this kind of behavior that is highly related to the politics. Don't join the politics. And they associate the collective action in the workplace with politics.
Okay, the next question would be, the minimum wage in Taiwan is very low, and some of my friends who work for minimum wage also told me that it's hard to pay the daily expenses in cities such as Taipei. So some of them have to even live with their parents to afford the daily expenses. So what explains that the minimum wage in Taiwan is so low, even compared to other East Asian countries like Japan and South Korea?
That's a good question. That's heartbreaking too. Yeah. Concerning why Taiwan wage is so low, we have to go back to understand when the KMT came to Taiwan. So developing the economy is the first priority. Therefore, they were pro employers, and also at the time, because it's the period of the martial law. So any disputes or collective action were suppressed, right? Therefore, the government doesn't support the arguments from the laborers. Okay, but I have to admit that during 1960 to 1980s, we do see rapid economic growth. And with that rapid growth comes with the income increase, yes. But after that, I think the low income is also pretty much international phenomenon, right? Why is that? Because the international competition okay, or we call global competition of the economy, especially in Taiwan. We are export-oriented economy, and it's easy for you to compete with employers from the other countries if you keep you suppress the wage or the labor costs, right? Just like I said, because Taiwan is such a small island and we are export-oriented economy, and we try every way to attract the capital.
So there's also an interest by the political or economic elites to have like a very low wage. To
Right.
So that works like as for
Right.
export.
Right.
Yeah. Not only is the minimum wage low, but working hours are also very high in Taiwan, especially in international comparison. Like when I tell my German friends about how long Taiwanese friends have to work, sometimes they are shocked. So do you think there's like a special concept of, or like a special work ethic in Taiwan behind that working hours are so long, or what might be the reason for that?
Well, in the past, we do have the Confucianism, right? Mm-hmm. And you have to work hard. And so at the time, especially when Taiwan changed from the agricultural society into the industrial society, people value the job opportunities. So at the time, even the worker even will ask the employer, well, there any overtime opportunities? If the employer said, no, we do not have the overtime opportunity, they will not go for that job. Yeah, because the wage is low, so they have to overwork in order to have more money taken back home to raise the whole family, right? That's in the past. But now, just like I said, it's international competition is so high, and Taiwan doesn't sit in the higher level of the technology, right? So they have to work hard in order to keep their competitiveness. And also the employers, the mentality of the employers is weird too. They think that those who work longer hours is dedicated employees, and they will be awarded. And also the employer themselves, they work longer hours too.
To keep the employees to work longer time.
Right.
So in last year and also beginning of this year, there have been a lot of strikes and labor-related protests in Taiwan, such as the protest of the nurses and migrant workers in October, as well as pilots and railway workers. Do you see a positive trend in labor action, or are these protests were these just happening because of the presidential election that was happening in the beginning of this year?
Both, because of the presidential election is coming at the time. So the unions or the labor groups, they will take this opportunity to push for their arguments, right? But they also, what you mentioned is, will that be a positive sign for the future? I don't think so. In Taiwan, if the union comes from the state-owned companies, okay, then their arguments or their appeals will be satisfied mostly, because their employers are not private boss, right? They are government. So government will try to make peace with them. However, if we are talking about the private sectors, okay, those for-profit employers, usually the battle for the union to fight against the employers is not so promising. Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Speaking of the elections were held in January, and the Democratic Progressive Party still holds the presidency, but under a new president, Lai Ching-te, and because his predecessor, Tsai Ing-wen, she reached her term limit. So what would you say is Tsai Ing-wen's legacy when it comes to labor rights and unions? And this is a very broad question, so maybe you could speak about it from the perspective of employment in higher education.
the former president Tsai Ing-wen did said in public that he cares about the laborers, but however, what she did is just opposite, right? In terms of the labor rights in the higher education, I think this issue is a little bit complicated because, of course, a lot of students and a lot of the professors or people working on the campus, they do face great crisis. Why is that? Because Taiwan is facing rapid decreasing birth rate. We have almost the lowest birth rate in the world. And this trend continues for almost 20 or 30 years. And now we see the impact. In 1990s, we have the open, in the education area, we have the open policy. That means that a lot of colleges and universities are emerging, right? We have a lot of, in Taiwan, such a small island, at that time we have 160, almost 170 colleges and universities. At that time, because we have a lot of kids, right? But during the past 20 or 30 years, the decreasing birth rate shows the effect. Okay, so a lot of universities, especially the private universities, usually the private universities is lowly regarded, so they can hardly attract the student to study. So those university or the college has to close down. But the way that they close down is quite brutal. They just walk away. Doesn't care about the how to address the issues left to the students or the professors. So a lot of professors lose their job. Yeah.
Okay. On May 1st, Labor Day, I
join the march.
Exactly, to have a look at the unions, and they had like a slogan which said "No honeymoon period" with the new president, urging legislative yuan to amend the labor law to strengthen labor rights. Do you think there's an overarching campaign or strategy within Taiwanese labor unions to improve the labor conditions and the low wages?
I think May 1st March is ceremonial now. Okay. They raise up this kind of issues every year. Not on May 1st, but also in the autumn. We have 2 times, right? May 1st is we call spring action. And then we also have autumn action in November. Yeah. So during this 2 particular day, those appeals are very common. So it's kind of ceremonial. Yeah. And I don't think that can make any big difference. Yeah. But still, you have to do that.
Yeah. Of course. So what are the ways usually that the labor unions address the government to try to get the government to act on their demands?
It's a really hard, even though not only DDP but also KMT, when they run for their next presidency, they also nominate the union leaders to be the legislators. But of course, that's only 1 or 2 seats among 100, right? So you can imagine, well, this 1 or 2 seats in the legislative yuan can make any difference? Probably not, because behind the 2 major parties, there are big employer associations. They will try to keep contact with the government or in power through direct way or indirect way, especially when they are running for the presidency. They will give money, right? And this is key to exercise their power. So it doesn't matter whether DDP got in power or the KMT got in power. Those big employers associations are always there, to tell you what you can do and what you cannot do.
Yeah, that's a difficult situation, yeah. So now I want to briefly get to the topic of migrant labor in Taiwan, because as you mentioned, there's like declining birth rates and an aging population. So in Taiwan, there's more and more reliance on migrant labor, but the migrant laborers from Southeast Asia are almost treated like second-class citizens in some regard. So is there any efforts to help these people from the unions, or how do they position themselves in regards to migrant labor?
In the past, Taiwan, the unions in Taiwan doesn't have much to do with the migrant workers. Their focus is not on migrant workers. Even sometimes they are hostile to the migrant workers. Okay. But we do have some NGO trying to give support financially, emotionally, okay, to help them in Taiwan so that they can find peace in when they stay in Taiwan working here. But that doesn't make any difference in terms of the labor conditions, improvement of labor conditions. However, what they can do, what I mean is those NGOs, what they can do is two ways. They try to bring up the issue in public so that the international society can see what happened in Taiwan. So Taiwan government will face the international pressure like the U.S. because the U.S. give annual report every year to examine Taiwan's labor rights. Okay. This is one of the way that they try to raise up the issue. Yeah. And then invite international pressure on Taiwan government. This is one way. The other way is they also will push for the government. And then by offering a lot of individual cases and saying that, hey, because our law doesn't cover this, or our law do have a lot of loopholes, so that the migrant workers suffer. Yeah, they push for, and that again some improvement too.
So while Taiwan is definitely threatened by China on a regular basis, I have observed that the China issue is also used by politicians sometimes to deflect from problems in Taiwan. I remember that during the presidential election, there was one DPP politician who said that while there are problems with high rents and low wages in Taiwan, the focus should be still on the threat from China. So basically the political landscape in Taiwan is like split on how to approach the topic, and I wonder how Taiwanese unions position themselves in relation to China, and do they side with the government, or do they even position themselves at all in regards to this topic?
According to my observation, Taiwan's labor unions do not have strong opinions, in public. Okay. But we do have one union who is saying that we go for the unionization. We go for 统一. There's one union.
Yeah, reunification or unification. That's what it's
called. Right. But most of the other unions, they focus on protecting their members' rights. The workers' rights. There's not that much involvement in the issue between Taiwan and mainland China.
So there's probably also no coordination between Taiwan and China when it comes to labor.
No.
So the almost last question is that in Germany, Taiwan is mainly known for the chip industry. So I want to ask if you know how the unions operate in these high-tech industries, and if they even try to approach these industries at all.
Okay. I think you probably will know that in chip industries, there's no union at all. No union at all. So it's union-free industry. But of course, someone try to unionize the workers in the industrial park, okay, like in Hsinchu. But I should say that it's not so successful. Yeah. So, and why the workers in the chip industries do not want to join the union, even though we do have the union over there? But one is in Taiwan, just like I said, the education of labor, this labor rights and the consciousness of the labor consciousness, 劳动意识, labor consciousness doesn't exist. Yeah, in not only elementary school but the junior high or high school, even in university, we do not have this kind of programs, right, or courses that the student can learn. So they have no idea at all. The other one is their working hours too long to care about their too long. Yeah, they just don't know. Probably if you have got the chance to ask them whether will they know the labor standard law or employment law, even labor insurance law, I think most of them are not aware of this.
Yeah. I have a friend who worked in the manual labor job in the chip industry, and he worked like 12-hour shifts for 5 days a week. So maybe I should ask him if he knows. That would be interesting to hear.
And that's another one. The third one is comparatively their wage is higher than the rest of the workers. So probably they will think that since their wage is high, so their life is insured, why join the union? But of course they do not have any idea of the union. They do not have any idea about the union.
Yeah, that probably explains the problem very well. So my last question would be what websites or resources you can recommend, especially also for Taiwanese listeners maybe, who want to get some more information about unions in Taiwan.
Okay, probably the 劳政. You know that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 劳动阵线.
对，劳工阵线. Okay. Yeah. What I can think of is 劳工阵线 because they have longer history. And they in that website you can see a lot of his record and then what they did now. Yeah, I think it's probably most representative of the unions in Taiwan.
Yeah, and they're not a union themselves, but
they are not. But they but what they did is to support the laborers in every walks of life, and they also give opinions or give help to those who seek their help. Yeah, there's a lot of unions or the workers came to this union or this association, I should say, that they are the name of this group is not union, but what they did is pretty much important to the union. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely also looked on the website of the Taiwanese Labor Front sometimes, and recently they've also had some interesting discussion panels about different topics.
Kind of topics?
Different topics, like the one that I went to last weekend was about Tonggong, Tongzhou.
Oh, I see.
So anyway, thanks a lot for the interview.
No problem.
Yeah, it was very interesting. And yeah, thank you so much for listening to this interview. Please share the interview because it is the only way that it can be seen or heard by more people, and follow the podcast on Spotify and social media.